Karan, this is what our third interview, and this time it's
Dude,
for
your subscribers must be like, how does this guy have some new shit to talk about every other month? But yet here we are.
well, to be very honest, I think people are like onions, as Janvi once told me. There's layers and layers, so I'm just gonna peel you each time
Peel the onion.
peel the onion.
It's from Friends.
Exactly. So, I mean, moving on from onions to Durgamati, which is of course
Yes.
your next big Bollywood film. How are you feeling about it, first of all?
Dude, I'm like super excited, honestly. It's out on the 11th of December. And, we started shooting this in Jan, and the whole virus situation happened, and everybody's sort of excitement was put on hold because, I got to see firsthand the sort of scale this movie was being made at, and the scale really is phenomenal. I think if people have watched the original, even they're going to be pleasantly surprised by the sort of level Ashok sir, who's the director, has taken the film to. And it was supposed to be a theatrical release.
Mm.
And I think films like this are best enjoyed on the big screen. But nonetheless, now that everything's sort of finally ready and it's releasing, it's I couldn't think of a better way to end the year. Honestly, I think
Yeah.
people like at least the ones involved in the film, I think this was the perfect way to end the year now that we can finally share all our hard work with everybody. And I don't even care that it's not releasing in cinemas as long as people just get the chance to sort of watch the film.
Yes, absolutely. It's quite interesting you mentioned about ending the year on this note as well, because I think this time last year we actually did our first podcast, and back then we were
Yeah, yeah.
reflecting on your first film, Blank, and how life was for you of working on that film and the subsequent sort of emotions that you've had. So, I mean, going back then and now, what do you think has been the biggest change in you as a person, as an actor?
I think I've become a lot more patient, in that one year. I think that first year, because everything was such a first and everything was so new, I was just very antsy and very nervous about everything. Whether it's how I'm going to perform, how people will perceive me, whether the film will do well, whether I'll get more work. But I think a year down the line, with whatever happened, and with the film and after the sort of subsequent months after release, I think it's just made me a more calm person, as far as all these things are concerned. Yes, there's always a certain level of anxiety when you start something new, at least for me, but this time it was overall a lot more sort of composed experience. Even now, we're talking at the time of this conversation, the film's coming out in 2 days, but I'm relatively pretty calm. I'm not as anxious as I would have been last year, and I think that comes with time and experience. I think the fact that Blank maybe didn't do as well as I thought it would, and with that you learn a lot. When you sort of deal with failure relatively earlier on, it makes you sort of it humbles you to a certain extent as well. So yeah, I think I've just become a more calm and accepting person, and that sort of maybe helped me as an actor as well, because whether you like it or not, aspects of your personality do reflect in your performances, as an actor. So I think it's helped me.
Oh wow, yeah, no, definitely. I think failure does sort of bring us back to earth. You know, if we're flying, it kind of just hits us back to the ground and kind of makes us stick.
Yeah, and it also just like you often, when we start doing things professionally, like when I started off acting, I was just doing it because I loved doing it. And later on, it became about, oh, how are we going to market it? What will people say? What are the critics going to say? And sometimes within all of that, you sometimes can lose your love for the whole thing, or why you started doing it in the first place. It's because it's an escape. It's something that you love doing, and it's something that you're passionate about. So I
Mm.
think I'm just trying to rediscover that sort of love and passion that I had for it when I was 15, 16, that excitement, rather than worrying about things that are not in my control.
Yes, absolutely. I think lockdown as well has kind of been a big reminder of that. But I think
Yeah, because it gives you the chance to reflect. Yeah.
definitely. And of course, speaking of Durgamati, we've seen a couple of the songs. I mean, I think it's very exciting to see you um,
Yes.
sort of share screen space with Bhumi Pednekar in the film. Um, but I think going by some of the pictures you posted on Instagram, it seems like your character again seems to be very grey. Would that be right to kind of call it grey?
Um, no, he's probably not as gray as some of the other characters I've played. He's actually very he's pretty black and white in terms of the kind of person he is. I can't reveal too much about the character, of course, for various reasons, but he's definitely. I mean, from what we put out, you can at least tell that it's in that sort of romantic zone, which is something that I've never done, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to sort of do that and work with Bhumi, who's just like she's just killing it, man. She can't stop killing it. So just working with her, Arshad Varsi sir, and Jishu sir, and all these amazing actors, it was an amazing experience. And the character was something that I've never played someone in that zone, because like you said, Blank was something that was in that gray zone. Even the short films and stuff that I did when I was younger were in that space. So this is like a welcome sort of respite from that.
Mhm. And of course, the fact that you played a terrorist in your first film, and now going by what you said, it's obviously something a lot more gentle in comparison.
Yeah,
So
you can say
how
that.
how was that sort of shift for you as an
It,
actor? I mean, was it difficult for you to shrug off that sort of rough edge that you had in your first film?
I don't think it was difficult. I think, the director that you're working with often plays a big part in things like this. Ashok sir was really good. He was very clear about the vision that he had for this character and how, he wanted me to play it. And then, of course, I have to bring my interpretation of that character to the table. But it was a very, he was very cooperative as far as my ideas were concerned and stuff like that. And honestly, it wasn't hard or challenging to sort of shrug it off. In fact, it was an opportunity that I was quite relishing because like I've never been sort of looked at in that light, and I've never had the opportunity to play a character like this. And at the end of the day, as an actor, you want to grow and you want to play different characters and be seen in a different light. You don't want to be typecast, and you want people to be open to sort of casting you in different sort of roles in different projects. So I'm very happy that I could sort of showcase this side of me, and sort of maybe my gentler side for a change.
Yeah, I think it seems very cool actually to see you kind of like lip sync and all of that. I think that's something that's really cool. But I know you've kind of
Yeah,
stayed.
it's weird, man.
I know you've also stayed consciously away from watching Bhagmati, which is obviously the original film, which
Yeah,
is what Durgamati is based on. So
yeah.
what was the main reference point for you then? I mean, was your character actually in the original film? Because I watched Bhagmati like by the time it released, and I've not seen it since. So,
Oh,
was your
it was. In fact, he was in the film. And, when the trailer came out, I wasn't in the trailer. And I was like, fuck, where am I? And then I saw the Bhagmati ka trailer and it fucking started with my character's dialogue. I was like, what the fuck is happening? So then Baras Baras came and it was all good. No, but it wasn't like, there was no reference point. Like I said, it's something I just had to build from scratch with my own imagination. I hadn't seen the original, so of course I didn't know how the original actor had played that part. But like I said, Ashok sir was so clear in the kind of person he wanted this character Shakti to be that it sort of became easy. And the dialogues were so well written. So when everything comes together, when you're wearing that costume, I think with the soundtrack, it sort of helps the whole illusion as well.
Hmm.
So I think all in all, it was just an easy transition. It was never like difficult. I never had to like really struggle with the process of playing this character.
Right, right. So I mean, obviously, because it's a very different genre as well. Like in Bhagmati, there's a lot of like supernatural elements to it. Um, how much of that have you been a part of as well? Have you been part of the supernatural aspect of the film, or are you more just in the romantic part of it?
I'm mostly just in the romantic part of it. I'm not like I mean I don't want to give too much away as well, but my character is basically he's playing Bhumi's character's love interest. And if you've seen the song, you see their relationship blossom from when they first meet, the sort of awkward few interactions to eventually them falling in love, and it blossoms into this marriage. So that in turn obviously invariably plays a big part in the decisions her character makes. But yeah, and in fact I was glad that because if you see the trailer, everybody's so intense and serious in the film, and I think whenever my character is on screen, it's sort of a break from that. I mean, there is obviously a level of seriousness and intensity that my character has as well. He's not just a hopeless romantic. He has an agenda. He has certain goals that he's looking to achieve.
Hmm.
But also within that, there is this sort of obviously this angle with Bhumi, which is a nice sort of which is a nice break from everything else that's happening in the film. Because this film has like everything, right? It has romance, it has horror, there's a political angle, it's a thriller, there's suspense. So it's like an amalgamation of everything.
Sure, sure. Obviously, I think it's a very interesting time for you as an actor because there's so many new platforms arising. There's so many uh, new stories coming now. Before, perhaps it would just be limited to cinema or television. Now, obviously, with the rise of the OTT platform as well. I mean, how does it feel to kind of be a part of this sort of a revolution, so to speak, in terms of cinema?
Oh, it's I think it's incredible. And I think I'm maybe speaking if you ask some of the veterans, they'd say that, theater is theater, and I do echo that sentiment. I do think as an actor, there's something special about watching yourself on the big screen. It's an experience that's you can't really compare with anything else. But for an actor like myself, who's a relative newcomer, who doesn't have a big body of work, I think the OTT platforms are such an amazing, they're actually a blessing in disguise because they give you the sort of access and visibility that a theatrical release couldn't. Like, we're releasing on Amazon Prime, and we go straight into 200 plus countries, and that sort of access is unparalleled. Think about 220 sort of different countries that you're catering to. People from all kinds of sort of different countries and continents get to watch your film, and whether it's with subtitles or whatever. So I think that sort of visibility wouldn't have been possible otherwise. And for young actors like myself, that visibility helps in being noticed and opens you up to an audience that would have otherwise maybe not sort of paid attention to you or your work. So I think for us it's good. And at the end of the day, for me, as special as it would have been, a theatrical release, as long as the film is liked and I get more work, I don't really care whether it's a theatrical release or an OTT release.
अपना काम बनता भाड़ में जाए जनता kind of just reminds me of that song.
Huh, yeah, I mean, and it can sound sort of whatever, but I think when you're a young actor and you're trying to make a name for yourself, you have to be sort of selfish, and not just an actor. I think even a director or a DOP would be in that same sort of, because you have to obviously you look out for yourself first, and you obviously want to keep doing quality work. So you do want your performance to not only be liked, appreciated, but also vindicated.
And I guess the pressure is always on as well on your part too, right? Because of the fact that there's so much talent everywhere now, and I know the space to coexist, but still, I guess for you personally, it's always about you wanting to be the best that you can always be, right? So I guess that's always something at the back of your mind, and you always need opportunities for that to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, no, of course. And yeah, and like you said, there is a lot of competition. And I'd be lying if I said I don't know what my peers are up to. You always know what everybody is doing and what everybody's up to. And that sort of does drive you to sort of better yourself as an actor and to work harder. And it's never from a position of, oh, he's doing it, I want to be better than him. It's just that you want to be better for yourself and you want better opportunities. It never comes from a space of wanting to out trump someone. It's just from a place of self betterment.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, well, Instagram doesn't exactly conceal things nowadays, so it's quite obvious.
Yeah, you all, yeah. And you're sort of right. And things like Instagram and social media, I think for a lot of people, they can make you really insecure as well. Say if you aren't maybe, and it's happened to me. You're maybe not getting the kind of work that you want or you think you maybe deserve, and you see other people out there who are maybe getting opportunities and killing it. Not that they don't deserve those opportunities, and you maybe second guess yourself. You're like, why am I not getting these opportunities? And it just creates this state of mind which 20, 15, 20 years ago wouldn't have been there in an actor. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it comes with a certain level of insecurity, because whether you want to know or not, it's somewhere like somehow always, it's thrown at you, whether it's on social media, wherever you go, people are like tweeting or like Instagramming. So you just have no option but to escape it. And for actors, it's not like we can go off social media as well to avoid it, because
Yeah.
we have to be on it for our work.
Mhm.
But it's how you use those platforms, I think, constructively. I think earlier I did get I was like I'm sitting at home and these other people are out there killing it. Why am I not? But then I was like, yeah, maybe because I need to work on myself a little more. So I think, you just sometimes a little introspection is always needed. And now in hindsight, I can say that I'm really glad that I moved past that zone, and now I just focus on bettering myself and looking forward to the kind of projects that I have in hand. And touch wood that I do have something in the works after this, so at least I have something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We were talking about failure earlier on, and Blank obviously didn't do as well as maybe how you would have expected it to. But had it kind of released on the OTT platforms, do you think audiences' reactions would perhaps have been different? Do you think the project itself, rather, would have been a bit more successful than how it was maybe when it released in cinemas?
I think so. I think most of the sort of messages that I've gotten regarding the film have been once it did come out on Z5, which is an OTT platform, and once it started airing on television. I think it's a culmination of two things ultimately. I think, yeah, it would have done better on an OTT platform. Also, I think the marketing was poor. The marketing wasn't what it should have been for that film. And I can be honest, and I think if you ask the people involved, they might sort of attest to that. The marketing was poor. It wasn't, honest. It didn't do well, but I think it was a good film, honestly. And I'm not just saying it because I'm not saying it was like some earth-shattering, groundbreaking film. It was a good film, and I think it deserved to do better than it did. But I think it was a combination of a lot of different things. Um, we didn't market it well. It released at the same time as the Avengers, so that to the last Avengers. So there were just a lot of poor decisions that were being made. Nobody's going to go and watch Blank over Avengers. Let's be honest. I mean, you can't compete with that sort of level of universal fandom. So yeah, I think there were many poor decisions made. I think if it was marketed better, maybe released on an OTT platform where people were more aware of it, I think, yeah, the outcome could have been different.
It's interesting you say that though, because when I went to go and see Blank, the cinema was full. We had almost at least 80% occupancy. I mean, maybe that's because I don't know, maybe because they ran out of shows for Avengers, and so people were like, "Okay, chalo cinema hai, kuch na kuch dekh ke jaye." But when I watched the film, I genuinely quite enjoyed the film. So I think it does kind of pique my curiosity a bit because I do think certain films would work differently on different mediums. As much as we kind of
Yeah, for sure.
like give it a middle ground. I do think there's always gonna be that distinction. You know.
And I think Blank has all the ingredients to be a perfect OTT film. There aren't really songs. It's quick paced. It's like 1 hour 40 minutes. So it does serve the purpose of the platform. I think it's also the kind of film that you can enjoy on a big screen. The only problem with it is, like I said, it was never about it being a good or a bad film. People just didn't know about it. Like I did the Kapil Sharma show yesterday. He thought Durgamati is my debut. He didn't even know about Blank.
Oh,
So if I think that's a result of poor market. I think that's a result, and no, that's no slight on him. It's just a result of poor marketing.
I mean, no offense, but Google is there for a reason. You know what I mean? If I knew your guess was coming,
Yeah.
I would have Googled.
Yeah, I know. I guess, but yeah, I do stick to my point though, as I think there was a lot more that could have been done in the build up to the release of that film.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think in that podcast that we did last year, and it's just so ironic how it's all just happened at the same time, like exactly 1 year later we're doing our like proper video interview. And I think
Yeah,
that's
man.
really special. But in that podcast you did mention how growing up was obviously quite a difficult phase for you because it was a whirlwind of emotions, and of course, losing your mother at a very young age, it was a very hard time for you. Um Obviously your aunt Dimple Kapadia seems to have been very instrumental in your life and has really nurtured you to become the person uh the way you are today. So in what sense has she kind of um been instrumental in your decision of becoming an actor as well?
So She's never okay. So, like in terms of wanting to be an actor, that came from my own sort of hopes and aspirations and my own personal reasons. Like I've said, I was an anxious person, and for me, acting was an escape from that anxiety, which later on became a passion, and now luckily it's my profession. But as far as she's concerned, she's helped me because she's always been my number one fan. You know, I've always said it. It's so hard to displease her with the things I do. I can put out the most shit performance, and she'll still be so supportive. And you know, it's because she's played so many different roles in my life. You know, she's been my mom, she's been my aunt, she's been my mentor, my role model, and she's someone who I can always go to for advice. She's also my friend. You know, like I can talk to her about anything. I talk to her about my relationships with my girlfriends, any issue that I might be having with a friend, if there's some conflict, I can talk to about anything. So just having someone in your life who you can trust with, you know, who you can trust blindly and there's no filter and you can just be yourself and open up to, and them sort of reciprocate and really listen to you and guide you. I think that is something not many people actually get in their life. And even if they do, I think some people don't realize how grateful they are to have it. So I'm just grateful for her being there in my life, you know, and just supporting me. And things would have been a lot more different, I think, if she wasn't around, because like you said, I was really young when you know, my mom passed away. And not just that, us as a family, you know, we've seen a lot of loss. She had, like, there were four siblings, her included, and she's the only one who's still around, you know. And of course she lost her mom, who's my grandmother, this past November. My grandmom also, you know, raised me practically as well. So we, you know, we've always been there for one another, and we've had to go through some hard times, but that's also made us, you know, stronger people. And it's also like made the bond a lot stronger, you know? And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be half the person that I am, or definitely not in the position I am today, if it wasn't for her. So yeah, I'm just eternally grateful to her
Yeah.
for everything.
No, definitely. You watched Tenet as well, and I think it was so amazing to see her on the big screen in a Christopher Nolan film. I mean, what was
Yeah,
your
man.
reaction like when you saw? And of course,
Yeah,
I think you met Nolan as well, right? I think you even met Robert Pattinson too.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I did. It was fucking incredible, dude. I can't even express myself without swearing. It was that awesome. It was just awesome, man. Like the chance to meet Christopher Nolan, he was like the first. You know, I was like a Bollywood fan growing up till my aunt showed me the Prestige when I was 14, and it just opened my eyes to this whole other world of cinema. And I was such a huge fan. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and ramble on about his CV. Everybody knows. But yeah, when she told me that she had to audition for him, and she was apprehensive, I was like, no, 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 no. You have to. There's no way, because I know that she would have regretted it as well, because she's a great admirer of his work also.
Mm.
So when it finally happened, I was just over the moon, man. I think I actually got all. I mean, I've never been so excited about anything in my life. The fact that she gets to collaborate with such amazing actors and Christopher Nolan, who's obviously this incredible director and amazing technician. I think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for anybody, and I couldn't be prouder of her. And I think, you know, I put out this Instagram post that really sums it up well. I think, you know, after 50 years in the business, or close to, she's
Yeah.
still like raising the bar and surprising people and inspiring people. And you know, it shows that it's never too late to challenge yourself and take risks. So I'm not just proud of her, I'm so inspired as well.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully one day you can at least work towards that dream of maybe, also working
Oh
on
man,
a
I
big
think we're getting carried away. I think we're getting, but you know, you never know. I think, you know, if last year you told someone that Dimple Kapadia, after Welcome Back, her next film is going to be Christopher Nolan's Tenet, everybody would have said fuck right off. But you know, the way things happen and the world is, it's so unpredictable. Anything can happen. So you know,
Well,
hopefully
actually,
one day, you never know.
now that you've done Durgamati as well, you did mention that you have an upcoming project. What can you tell us about that?
You know, I actually put up my look from that project, and then they called me and they're like, take it down. And they just got super mad at me. So I don't want to risk losing my job. So maybe I can't maybe give specifics, but all I can say is it's in the sort of gangster genre. It's a character that's something completely alien to me. I've never played someone like that. The whole dialect and just the whole demeanor of that character is something that's so different and left field for me
Mm,
that it makes me even more excited. I've never done something like that. So I think it's either going to be really good or it's just going to be completely crap. It's like a high risk, high reward kind of situation, but I'm so excited for it. I think the script is really solid.
mm,
And yeah, it's going to give me the opportunity to do something that I've not done before. And if you know me, of course, which you do, I'm always looking forward to challenges like that and doing different things. So I'm just
yeah.
super kicked. And hopefully, because I start shooting in Jan, I think in the next couple of weeks they should announce it, so then maybe I can elaborate a little further on what it's about and what I'm playing.
Hmm. So, I mean, like you said, it's gonna be either a distinction between the two. How have you prepared yourself for that mentally and emotionally?
Oh man, so the preparation started a long time ago. I've been talking to the director on a daily basis. Not just that, we've been doing workshops, dialect workshops on Zoom, because it's a huge ensemble cast. There are a lot of actors that I'm really excited to work with as well. Man, I wish I could talk to you about whoever. I'll tell you privately.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got some great actors on board, and we've been doing dialect classes every day, because especially for the character that I'm playing, it has to be so embedded in his personality. It shouldn't seem that it's Karan Kapadia trying to talk like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that process is still underway. We start shooting in Jan. I think in another week or two, we're going to start physical workshops in terms of actually playing out the scenes. Even though I'm not a big fan of rehearsing scenes,
Mm,
but yeah, that's something that's going to start. I think it's important though, because it's just something like, because when you're so focused on the dialect, sometimes you forget other aspects like body language and stuff like that. It's easy to let it go sometimes. So I think those rehearsals will be important to just get everything a little fine tuned. But yeah, we're doing workshops every day, man. 1 2 hours, just going through the episodes one after another and then revising them. Just trying to make sure we're as prepared as we can be, so that when we're on set, it's hopefully a smooth experience.
wow. Okay. So I know you can't obviously talk about the project in too much detail because obviously you can't, but I think that sounds really, really exciting. And I think it would be great
It's
because
it's really exciting.
your first digital series as well. So I think looks really
Yes,
promising. Definitely.
yes, for sure. And like I said, that character, he's such a dick, man. I just love the character so much. So that's what I can say about him. So I'm just really excited about it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I can just imagine like news headlines just saying Karan Kapadia calls his new character a DICK. I can just imagine this sort of headlines
Oh,
emerging.
Karan Kapadia, dot dot. He's such a dick.
No, but I think you know what, Karan? I think it just makes me
But
happy to really sort of see you move on and improve each time as an actor and as a person. I think every time, I think the last time we spoke was actually during Bangin lockdown, and since then there's been a very big change in you
yep, yep.
as a person, and I'm really really glad that
Oh,
you know
thanks, man. Thank you.
you're carrying on and you're gaining the strength and being very honest with yourself, and I really hope that that continues, and can't wait to watch Durgamati and of course your future projects.
Thanks, brother. I can't wait to do another of these interviews in 2 months so that everyone can go, oh, fuck, not this guy again.
No,
Soon,
I think it's
man.
always a pleasure
Soon.
to have you on Filmy Shilmy.
Before the next one. Before the next one.
Yes, for sure. It's always a pleasure, buddy, to have you on
For sure.
Filmy Shilmy, and thank you so much once again for joining me.
Always.
Fabulous.
Always, bro. I love being here. I love chatting with you. It's my pleasure.
Lovely. Cool. Thank you so
See
much,
you soon,
Karan.
bro. All right, broski. See you.
Bye.